Okay, guys. So welcome to our session. Couple of things I wanted to show you. Yesterday's conversation I really enjoyed. So thank you very much for participating and your reflections. They were very nice, and we will talk about those also later on. So please keep the same type of atmosphere for the next 2 weeks. Say what you have to say. Even when I'm speaking, you want some idea comes in your thought, you can always stop me and pitch it in, because sometimes if we delay, then the conversation is gone somewhere else, and the timing is very important in these type of conversations. So please do your best, just like yesterday. All right. So from yesterday's conversation, uh, looking at some things, let me going to share the screen and show you a couple of things, which I did not really plan to do them, but because of yes how the yesterday's conversation went, I think we should talk about these. So look at this one. Microsoft is cutting dozens of MSN news production workers and replacing them with AI. So yesterday, when we just that thing just came, and I showed you the thing that was coming from 2017. Yeah. So I thought, let me check what is happening nowadays. So look at this, May 29, 2020. Yeah. Just like a month or 2 month old story. So Microsoft, MSN, very big companies, you know about them, and they are cutting dozens of news production workers and replacing them with artificial intelligence. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, that please reflect on this, that where the industries are going. And I picked this example because we spoke about journalism and those type of things yesterday. But as we will go, forward, you will appreciate that this trend is like across the board. What I'm trying to tell is that, or suggest, is that no matter which area you are looking into, what job you go into, always look how various technologies, not just AI is just one of them. Various technologies are transforming, or the trend is there going forward, so you can learn a little bit about them, and then maybe it would be a better idea. But on the same go, I want to show you a little bit of a twist also. So we are talking about this Microsoft, MSN, and so on. But look at this one. Microsoft's robot editor confuses mixed race little mix singles. Yeah. So what they did is, because it is a robot, and the thing is that AI is very good in like crunching big numbers and those type of things, but where it comes to subtle things like, for example, facial recognition and those type of things, it is not that bad, it is good, but sometimes these type of confusions can happen. So firm plans to replace editors with AI backfires after wrong image of musician is published. Yeah. So what happened is that, because it is AI and it picked up some images, and they selected wrong image there. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say, that you will, same time when you will advocate for AI, let's say you will say, let's do it like this, that people will show you these type of stories also. Then at work, when in your negotiation, and when you are having discussion, they will always tell you, because it has not reached to a place where it is like perfectly fine. It is a work in progress. So don't worry about that type of uh, conversation. If someone says, oh, what you are saying, it does not make sense, because see, the other day it picked up the wrong image, and what is the implication of that, just say that, this is work in progress. So people find these things, and then they work on it and make it a little bit better, and then a little bit better, and then a little bit better. Yeah. So over a period of time, it's like just going to gym. So because I'm not muscular, so if I go to gym and I try, let me pick up, like, whatever weight other people are picking, it's not possible for me. But if I work on it slowly, 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 maybe I can improve the thing. Same is the thing with AI. So these type of things you will hear. So what I'm saying that, don't walk away from technologies. Even people say that, this is not possible. We know it is. These things are maybe not possible. We established that yesterday. But what we are saying that in the long run, if we start working on these things, maybe it would be beneficial. So these are the things which I wanted to talk on one thing. And then there are other things also I want to show you, because somehow that thing came about break, and I was saying that I can, work for like maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, and that type of thing, and break and those type of. This I want to show you. Yeah, this is very interesting study. Artificial brain may need sleep too. Please reflect on. So yesterday we were saying, technology, and that is the normal sentiment that we say that, these automation and they can keep on going. But look at this. A artificial brain may need sleep too. States that resemble sleep-like cycle quill the instability that comes with uninterrupted self-learning in artificial analogs of brain. Yeah. So it is a scientific study. Yeah. So I encourage you to look into this. This is very very interesting. Uh, I don't want to, go in detail. I just want to highlight the thing with you, and then you can look into this. Like, study artificial brains need rest too. It's the same study, but it's a nice cute picture. Yeah, someone made it from the box like the robot. It's quite nice. Yeah, so this is quite what I'm trying to say, that it is quite publicized, and it is quite new. Look at the date, June 9, 2020. June 8. Yeah, so somewhere early June, a month ago, this thing came out. But you need to look at the detail and understand what it really means. AI may also need sleep just like humans after long hours of unsupervised learning. And yesterday, if you guys remember, there were three different, three different columns or areas which you saw in the clip. You can go back to those clips anytime you want. Even computers need a good night's sleep. AI designed to all of these things. Yeah. So uh, think about these, and maybe, it's quite interesting. But what type of sleep? Of course, it won't be a sleep like we human beings go for, longer time. Okay. And one more thing I wanted to show you. Yesterday we were talking about somewhere in the discussion. I don't know where, but somewhere it came. We said that you are talking about, I think, self-driving cars, and I was saying that, these aircrafts, they do we know that, in how they fly. And I was asking you to check some YouTube clip or something like that, that they are very much automated. Pilot is there, but they are very much automated. And I was saying that if I need to fly from Jamaica to Slovakia, Slovenia, anywhere, Spain, yeah, so if there is no pilot, would I sit or not? So that type of conversation. So this is, look at this, June 29th, 2020. And this is United States of America. Air Force seeks to pit unmanned aircraft with artificial intelligence AI against a manual jet fighter. And when you will just run a Google search, like, Air Force jet fighter artificial intelligence, and you will see a lot of things there. Yeah. So think about that. How the industries are going to disrupt by that. Yeah, can you imagine that? So if so, for example, you should think about how much it takes to go in Air Force, in any good Air Force. What are the requirements? So when you will do some research, you will understand the requirements are very, very, very intense. Mentally, they need to be very, very sharp, extremely sharp. Physically, extremely sharp. Emotionally, because of the speed and all the things you have to do, your heart rate, your eyesight, everything, like it's extremely challenging to go in Air Force. And then after going in Air Force, they are going to give you a jet to fly. So they really test you out. They really test you out. Why? Many reasons. The aircraft price, check the price, just run a Google search, price of a aircraft F-35, F-16. It's in billions of US dollars, millions at least. It's a very expensive machine, and anything can happen in that. Yeah, so that is why they do full work on that. A little thing in the pilot, they will not let him fly, and he would be still extremely fit. But because, and the criteria of selection and everything, you can check that out. Any good Air Force in the world, it is not just uh, uh, USA. Any good Air Force, they, even the air forces which are not good, they are also going to try their best to find the best possible pilot, because they cannot, like, the heart stop working because of the fast speed or something happen, the vision goes blurry, anything happens, and you just destroy the aircraft. And once they find the right people, then they give them a lot of training. The training is very intense and very expensive. A lot of money is invested in training a jet fighter pilot. Yeah, so looking at all of these, look at this now, that AI is going to fly the jet aircraft and do the fighting. So look at the price to, the price to train the people you need to find, and all of those things. And then of course the pilot can be trained, and they can be on ground, and they can give some instructions if something, do it like this, or maybe something like that, thinking that they are in the aircraft themselves. So this is very interesting. uh, uh, 2 3 stories which I said that let me share you before we begin. So you need to, think on these lines. You need to please think on these lines. Like, for example, yesterday I said that, beings need break, and I can work for 3 hour 4 hour, and then I say after 8 hours I would need break, and all of you smiled and you are nodding, which is perfectly fine. But you need to question these things. Like, so for example, I did that. I looked into this after session. I said, let me check, like, how do AI take break? How do they energize themselves? That is the question I asked myself. Although I'm the one who said it, and I believe what I said. But think about it. If yesterday you knew this, let's just suppose that you knew this yesterday, and when I said, you said, no, 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 AI also needs break. What would have happened? I would have lost my respect, because you would have said this guy don't know anything. Yeah, think about it. But think, so what I'm trying to say is that the nature of development in AI is so fast that you say something today, tomorrow it does not work. So don't think like that. If you listen to someone you are talking with, they make a point tomorrow. So nothing to really laugh about or something. But the thing is that you ask questions. So I asked myself questions, I learned something, and then I told you. I'm sharing that with you. Same thing you need to do. That you always try to question. That is, I think, you will learn a lot. So those was a couple of things. Let's move to what we need to do. So the website, I will keep on updating it on basically daily basis. So you would have to keep an eye on what is happening on the website. So I'm going back to our first session, because the plan is that we take, like, maybe this week to look at the mm, uh, basic modules. So this is, once you go on the website, lectures, AI for everyone, master the basics. So we want to look at these 4 things quickly. and then we want to talk about examples, just like I showed you these three examples today. So I want to spend maybe good amount of time going forward after Friday or Thursday, want to talk about examples and things like that and have discussions. So but these modules I would be updating them on daily basis. So I'm reopening the first module which we looked at yesterday. Yeah, so we looked at introducing AI, a couple of basic things. So I added this three AI types. The types are in inverted commas. So you need to maybe quickly. These are not difficult. These are very basic introductory type of information which I think will help you. What are the three types of AI? So in the clip, if you remember, they spoke about this. Narrow, general, and super AI, if you guys remember. So this article I saw, it's very nicely, it explains it also. So in the clip, they ANI, AGI. So when you will see these type of words, nothing to really worry about, especially to our friend who is coming from business background. So nothing to really worry about. Just either read this and take your time in reading, or you can just run a Google search, artificial general intelligence, run a Google search and see what are. And you don't have to be perfectly understanding everything. It is about having some idea about what is what, and then after 2 weeks of our interaction, in the end we can decide that what is the way forward we want to take individually, and so on. Yeah, so you can look into this. Same way we were looking at what is AI. This was the chart I asked you to maybe reflect on, and maybe make a copy of this chart somewhere, print it or something, and then keep on adding to this various things. So I added all of this yesterday. Yeah, so you need to maybe look at it. What is AI? These 4 or 5 articles I have selected for you. uh, if you want to read, you will you don't even have to read it. It is like quick scanning and that type of thing. But if you think that you are okay with this, these are not compulsory. This is, I'm just trying to create a space for you guys, that even afterwards, and for myself also, even afterwards we can always come back to the site and maybe read something. These are very like for example, this picture, it very nicely explains you what is it. Categorizes into different areas: machine learning, speech, vision, robotics, and so on. So you can look into this history of AI. Yeah, I think that is I don't plan to talk about that in our session, because it is something which you are going to read, I think, in your own time, in your own pace. In next 2 3 days, you just read about it, like how it has evolved. It is coming from 1940s, 1956, 1997, these chess games, all of these things. So this also will help you understand that, just like nowadays people say that this AI is not possible, and it's not going to happen. And of course it's not going to happen like 100%. It will take decades, and even after that, to really beat human being in all the aspects of human brain, it is quite challenging, because we process information coming from multiple areas. So in some tasks, of course, AI is going to is has already outperformed us, but in other tasks, like it is work in progress. So same way, you can see in 1956, 1997, people were saying the same things, like this is not possible, and all the things they were saying is not possible. In the next 2 decades, they were possible. Yeah, so this gives you a short definition. I was talking about deep learning maybe yesterday, right? Yeah, short, in a short, easy to understand words, no big terminology is used. So that is why I have selected some examples are there. Healthcare, how healthcare is being affected, agriculture, finance. You can start looking at these, and later on, once I have covered these basics which I want to cover, I would be talking about these things. And we spoke about these type of things, risks, for example, ethics, those type of conversation which we had yesterday. This is another interesting article. Please look into this. Ethical questions. You will see a couple of ethical questions raised. What is there? How they are responding to them. Some examples are there. So in your own time, you can look into this. For example, this is a TED talk. What happens when our computers get smarter than we are? Yeah, what happens? How we can prepare for those type of things. So I think that this type of readings you should do uh, in your own time, of course, and don't feel overwhelmed that it's too much. If you enjoy this type of reading, then do it. If you don't enjoy this type of reading, if it is boring for you for now, then don't do it right now. Build your pace over a period of time. As you develop interest, hopefully by end of 2 weeks, I'm sure there will be one or two things which you would have found more interesting, and then you can read those type of things. Yeah. Self-aware, for example, this last column, this is what we were talking about, that once the self-awareness comes in the AI, uh, it can decide what it wants to teach itself. That type of thing, if that comes in, that would be quite interesting. Yeah, it's a very interesting article. This is, uh, and then there are more. Let me not spend time on them. Yes, one of our friends, they in their reflection they spoke about fear. Yeah. Um, who is that friend? I'm forgetting. I would have to open email.
Uh, let me open.
Diago, yes, yes, Diago, very good. So Diago was saying that, please, Diago, go ahead. Tell us what were you saying. I think that was very good.
I think that some people have fear of losing their jobs
Yeah,
because people, some people have fear of new things and they haven't uh, some curiosity. I don't know.
yes, yes. Excellent, excellent. Very good point. So it is not maybe that Diago was saying that it is more about that people have jobs and they are comfortable with those, and when we tell them that automation will come and AI will take over, they kind of don't cooperate or talk down about it because they maybe don't want to, lose their job and livelihood. That type of sentiment is there. So Diago was saying that many times it is the fear, and we need to reduce that fear. Maybe that, yes, some jobs are going, maybe a lot of jobs are going, but on the same side, a lot of new jobs are being created. If you will look at the numbers, which maybe somewhere we will try to look at, the amount of jobs created are, maybe if 1 million jobs are being lost, 2 million jobs are being created. That is the way forward. New jobs, new exciting things are coming up because of not just AI, please, technologies, internet of things, data related jobs, new type of jobs are coming. So this article, I really, this came in my mind as I was reading Diago's reflection, that the case for taking AI seriously as a threat to humanity, why some people fear AI. This is explained very nicely in this. So we should scan through it. Yeah, just quickly. You don't have to read word by word if you are not interested, but just look at the main points. And so what we are trying to say, that somehow you also need to reduce that fear, that anxiety from other people around you, in your work, wherever you will join, or you want to create some startup, your own entrepreneurial activity on something like technology related. You want to first ease their anxiety, that it is not that you are going to lose the job. Your job work is going to change, so you need to learn on those lines. It is not that you're going to be redundant, because yesterday we made it clear that the idea is that the cooperation between AI and technologies and human beings, that is what we are keeping in our mind. We are not saying that no technology is going to come or technology is going to take over. that is kind of extreme. So please look into this. This is very nicely explained with examples, games like chess and go, generating images, news feeds, Facebook news feeds. So you can click on these articles, and if you are interested in, detect missiles, it is linked army examples, war examples, improve drone targeting. So if you are interested, you can uh, Zora is interested in games, so strategy games and stuff like that. Compose music, write articles. So think of compose music. So AI is composing music also. Uh, that is very interesting. So think about this. These are creative things. Music, composition, paintings. AI is painting. Uh, just run a Google search. Artificial intelligence painting, and then read on maybe who gets the credit, uh, who gets the copyright. If artificial intelligence creates a painting, draw, paint, and they pre-paint very nice, who gets the copyright? Yeah, this is whole different type of issues you will see. I will see if later on when we are talking about examples I can maybe talk about those things. But look into these things, please. This is quite interesting. They give examples throughout the column. They have these links, and you can learn a lot by going through this. They have spent good amount of time in, and this one is extremely good. It's a long one, but it answers basic question: what is AI, history of AI, how AI works, types of AI, where is AI used, what are the prerequisite application, everyday application, AI jobs, career trends in AI, future of AI, and then they also recommend some movies also. Yeah, so you can see, and the important things they have highlighted in yellow. That is why I like this one very much. So as you scan quickly in 5 minutes, you can scan it and pay attention to the yellow ones also, and maybe watch couple of clips. Yeah. So for example, history. This gives you and you can copy and paste or save it in your record. So when you have to make some presentation or something like this, very important. And for example, Turing test, I'm sure the friends coming from computer science background, you must have they must know about what is Turing test. But maybe Zora can just run a little Google search on that, what is Turing test. That is quite a phenomenal thing. In the early days of AI, still people give reference to those type of things. Yeah. So easy to understand, nothing hard. Uh, but the point is that you don't have to memorize these things. That what is machine learning, what is deep learning, what is NLP. You just read them and uh, just appreciate various things and try to distinguish between couple of things. Yeah, very nice, well written article. So what I'm trying to say, that just like this, I will keep on updating throughout, and you can go back and go forth and then decide. These clips, I hope you have seen them in your own time, uh, from yesterday's session, as I was explaining you. But even if you have not, don't worry about that. Tonight before sleeping, you can look into these. They are short ones, uh, and you play the clip. If you like it, you keep on watching it. If you don't like it, you find some next clip and play it, and that is fine. Okay, so let's look at the next one, uh, which is module 2 now. Some AI concepts, terminologies, and application areas, and you will see that because of our discussion style, um, we looked at these things. Couple of them in yesterday also they came, because in this discussion anything can come. And then ethical, for example, module 3 ethics also came somewhere, and future of AI also came somewhere in yesterday's discussion. So what I'm trying to say, as we will move into discussions in next 2 3 4 things 4 days, After that, you will see that, oh, we spoke about this in the second session or the third, or that friend made that comment. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to make linkages in your own time using your own, style, uh, because back and forth, things will flow. uh, it is not a step by step process that, okay, we have done this, now the next one, now the next one. It is not like that. We go to next step, and then many times we come back to the first step to make linkages and improve on the examples which we spoke about. So these things like, machine learning, deep learning came yesterday. Let's watch a couple of clips, and then maybe talk a little bit about them, and then see how we can proceed. And again, if the voice quality is not good here when I'm playing, you can play it in your own browser.
AI is at the forefront of a new era of computing, cognitive computing. It's a radically new kind of computing, very different from the programmable systems that preceded it, as different as those systems were from the tabulating machines of a century ago. Conventional computing solutions, based on the mathematical principles that emanate from the 1940s, are programmed based on rules and logic intended to derive mathematically precise answers, often following a rigid decision tree approach. But with today's wealth of big data and the need for more complex evidence-based decisions, such a rigid approach often breaks or fails to keep up with available information. Cognitive computing enables people to create a profoundly new kind of value, finding answers and insights locked away in volumes of data. Whether we consider a doctor diagnosing a patient, a wealth manager advising a client on their retirement portfolio, or even a chef creating a new recipe, they need new approaches to put into context the volume of information they deal with on a daily basis in order to derive value from it. These processes serve to enhance human expertise. Cognitive computing mirrors some of the key cognitive elements of human expertise, systems that reason about problems like a human does. When we as humans seek to understand something and to make a decision, we go through 4 key steps. First, we observe visible phenomena and bodies of evidence. Second, we draw on what we know to interpret what we are seeing to generate hypotheses about what it means. Third, we evaluate which hypotheses are right or wrong. Finally, we decide, choosing the option that seems best and acting accordingly. Just as humans become experts by going through the process of observation, evaluation, and decision-making, cognitive systems use similar processes to reason about the information they read, and they can do this at massive speed and scale. Unlike conventional computing solutions, which can only handle neatly organized structured data, such as what is stored in a database, cognitive computing solutions can understand unstructured data, which is 80% of data today. All of the information that is produced primarily by humans for other humans to consume. This includes everything from literature, articles, research reports, to blogs, posts, and tweets. While structured data is governed by well-defined fields that contain well-specified information, cognitive systems rely on natural language, which is governed by rules of grammar, context, and culture. It is implicit, ambiguous, complex, and a challenge to process. While all human language is difficult to parse, certain idioms can be particularly challenging. In English, for instance, we can feel blue because it's raining cats and dogs, while we're filling in a form someone asked us to fill out. Cognitive systems read and interpret a person. They do this by breaking down a sentence grammatically, relationally, and structurally, discerning meaning from the semantics of the written material. Cognitive systems understand context. This is very different from simple speech recognition, which is how a computer translates human speech into a set of words. Cognitive systems try to understand the real intent of the user's language and use that understanding to draw inferences through a broad array of linguistic models and algorithms. Cognitive systems learn, adapt, and keep getting smarter. They do this by learning from their interactions with us and from their own successes and failures, just like humans do.
Yes, so very simple, easy to understand, concept. They are talking about cognitive computing, perception, learning, reasoning. Couple of things came in that one. They were talking about in the early days, maybe the understanding of data was enough, but they are kind of implying that because of big data and the volume of data and evidence-based type of reasoning. Uh, and lately, what they are working is on the ability to understand the context. So in what context someone has said something. A person might have said the same thing, like, if a person says you are very intelligent. So in one sense, it is they are saying that you are very intelligent. On the other hand, they are kind of making. You guys can hear me, or on my side it seems that
Yeah.
you.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I might lose you in a moment, seems like. But
Before we deep dive into how AI works and its various use cases and applications, let's differentiate some of the closely related terms and concepts of AI. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and neural networks. These terms are sometimes used interchangeably, but they do not refer to the same thing. Artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science dealing with the simulation of intelligent behavior. AI systems will typically demonstrate behaviors associated with human intelligence, such as planning, learning, reasoning, problem solving, knowledge representation, perception, motion, and manipulation, and to a lesser extent, social intelligence and creativity. Machine learning is a subset of AI that uses computer algorithms to analyze data and make intelligent decisions based on what it has learned, without being explicitly programmed. Machine learning algorithms are trained with large sets of data and they learn from examples. They do not follow rules-based algorithms. Machine learning is what enables machines to solve problems on their own and make accurate predictions using the provided data. Deep learning is a specialized subset of machine learning that uses layered neural networks to simulate human decision-making. Deep learning algorithms can label and categorize information and identify patterns. It is what enables AI systems to continuously learn on the job and improve the quality and accuracy of results by determining whether decisions were correct. Artificial neural networks, often referred simply as neural networks, take inspiration from biological neural networks, although they work quite a bit differently. A neural network in AI is a collection of small computing units called neurons that take incoming data and learn to make decisions over time. Neural networks are often layered deep and are the reason deep learning algorithms become more efficient as the data sets increase in volume, as opposed to other machine learning algorithms that may plateau as data increases. That you have a broad understanding of the differences between some key AI concepts, there is one more differentiation that is important to understand, that between artificial intelligence and data science. Data science is the process and method for extracting knowledge and insights from large volumes of disparate data. It's an interdisciplinary field involving mathematics, statistical analysis, data visualization, machine learning, and more. It's what makes it possible for us to appropriate information, see patterns, find meaning from large volumes of data, and use it to make decisions that drive business. Data science can use many of the AI techniques to derive insight from data. For example, it could use machine learning algorithms and even deep learning models to extract meaning and draw inferences from data. There is some intersection between AI and data science, but one is not a subset of the other. Rather, data science is a broad term that encompasses the entire data processing methodology, while AI includes everything that allows computers to learn how to solve problems and make intelligent decisions. And both AI and data science can involve the use of big data, that is, significantly large volumes of data. In the next few lessons, the terms machine learning, deep learning, and neural networks will be discussed in more detail.
Very interesting clips, and in a very easy to understand language, they have kind of given us some insight on what is what. Before I take your thoughts on this, so it was more like the first clip was like, the cognition, the brain, how brain thinks and stuff like that. AI, they are saying, is from that the subset is machine learning, and then one subset is deep learning. uh, they use some terminologies like neural networks and stuff like that. uh, and they try to explain us the basics, like the human, how human being learns. They will observe, then from that they will try to think about what they already know about the session, about the human being, whatever is involved. Then they do some evaluation of that, and then they decide. But they are trying to say that because of the advancements or the tools which data scientists use, maybe these technologies can do the same thing in a very fast way, so that makes it very interesting. Massive speed they were talking about. So what I'm trying to say is that any studies, if any competencies, if we can develop in terms of uh, working with data, any type of, it can be visual data, IT, any type of data coming from data, can numbers data, or the, it does not has to be like just the numbers, it is also the qualitative. If you are not into maths or something, qualitative data, although it's still maths is going to come, but maybe it is little easier to read for some people than just to look at numbers. Some people get bored from that. What I'm trying to say is that all of these things, you are saying blogs, Twitter, all of that is data. How can read the feeds on Twitter, how AI can read the feeds on blog, all of anything on that. If we work on that and develop some skills, take some courses on those type of technical knowledge, and we incorporate that, I think that can land into great jobs in all industries, because all industries are dependent on data. All industries, marketing, finance, anything, they want data. How consumer is thinking, what are the things consumer wants. Like for example, if you are chatting on Facebook or any app, uh, what are the things you are talking about with your friends during coronavirus? What do you need? What is happening? So all that data, if you can have some technology to read that, extract that meaning from that meaningful thing, which can be applied on a wider set of society, that information is gold for companies like Amazon. How do you think Amazon is becoming big and big and big and big? What is the reason why Facebook is becoming big and big? Do you guys remember that controversy about Facebook, that they are sharing data and all of that, going to court, and Honorable Mark Zuckerberg was there? They always tell us that they are not going to look at data, and I believe them. But what I'm trying to say, that there, cannot they read it if they want? Why they will not want? Just every now and then. Maybe they will not look every day. It is just like, it is, there is a room in your house where you can go, but you tell me that I don't go there, I'm not going to go there. But every now and then, if you just go there for a while and see what is happening, think about it. This is, and think about what distinguishes, what makes human beings is creativity. Where creativity comes from? Curiosity. Why did I find out that AI needs sleep or not? Before yesterday, I'm very honest with you, before yesterday, I had no idea that AI needs sleep. I'm honest with you. I don't know about you guys. I had no idea. I was shocked. And you have seen me, I have tagged those papers, and I'm going to read in detail that what is happening. So why did I find that out? Curiosity, because I was thinking, like, let's really find it out. Let me run some Google searches. In 5 minutes, there you go. Why Facebook would not want to know about their customer so they can please them more? So they can give Diago what he wants, Miguel what he wants, Alejandro what Alejandro wants, Zora which game Zora is likely to buy next from Amazon. Why Amazon is not going to look into her conversations with her friends, the messages, everything she's sending. She's saying, all right, I'm on my birthday, I think I want that gift, or I'm saving money for that. We do all those conversations. Yeah, so why they will not look at it? They will not tell us. But my question is, if you were Amazon, would you look into that or not? Ethically speaking, you will say no, but ask yourself. Not all the time, I'm saying just for a moment, and it takes a moment to look at the data. Yeah, so this is quite challenging thing there. So please think about that. And the context I wanted to talk about, although they are quite rich clips, and you should maybe watch them again later on to really, over a period of time we will learn these things. It's not, don't pressurize yourself that if there is something which you're not understanding right now, it happens over a period of time. Look into it again, and then after 1 week look into it, and then after 1 week look it. So over a period of time you will understand what the mem gone are those days. Gone are those days when we had to memorize the definitions of various things. Those days are gone. But all of us do that for our exams. I also take my exams. I'm doing some courses, and the way they test me is they give me the book and I need to memorize these definitions and write them. That thing is redundant now. There is no need to memorize anything now. You just run a Google search, find out what is what, and that is it. Why do you have to memorize the definition? And it is good if you know, I'm just saying. But there are other things which we spend more time on, more energy. Nothing is wrong in memorizing, but there are so many other things which we need to work on, and one of that is making AI understand the context. That is what they are working on, context. So they gave an example in the clip that they use the idiom, English idiom, feeling blue. Yeah, I'm feeling blue. So I'm feeling sad or unhappy or down. Yeah, that is. But feeling blue for AI is blue is the color. It's going to think about that this person is feeling for blue color, just like Diago is sitting behind a blue blue wall. I think. Yeah, I think it is blue wall. Yeah. So it is going to link it with that, not with the with the context or the real meaning in which it should be used. Couple of other things. Pattern recognition, pattern that is very important for if we want to ask AI's pattern. So any courses, any skills you can develop to understand how patterns are recognized. I think just that alone, if you can recognize patterns, trends in conversations, either on blogs or messages or anything, that how to find out. And it's not hard, believe me. These things which I'm not asking you to learn the language in which to write AI. That is totally different. Yeah, that may be um, you can learn it, of course, but that is more time consuming. But these things which I'm telling you, these are like short courses, 1 month, 1.5 months, and you learn these things. And of course, you just learn the basics. Over a period of time, you improve the your skills and stuff like that. So the 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 usage they gave this very interesting example. And I was in this session in Germany, as I was telling you guys, I think yesterday, that I just finished there. And in that session, one of the friends said that during coronavirus, um, she had to cook at home, and sometimes the real ingredients which she would line use in some recipe, they were not there because she was out of them and she could not go out and that type of thing. So in that time, she just experimented with using other ingredients as a substitute, which she would not have used if the real ingredients were there, like some spices or whatever. So she experimented with other putting in other things which were available in her home, in her kitchen. So in that, she was saying that sometimes she would do good, make something very delicious, and many times she would make something this not good at all, because not supposed to do that. But she's saying over a period of time, I learned, and in doing this, I discovered 3 or 4 very interesting recipes which really makes the taste amazing. And in this clip, if you recognize, they are saying that chefs can come up with new recipes, yeah, because of using these patterns, trends, what goes good with what. And please remember from yesterday's discussion that we will be looking at one or two or three articles in one time. AI is going to look at all the data available based on the capacity, based on storage, and based on the uh, other things, the processing speed and so on. Yeah. So in that context, think how amazing it can be, and how a chef, a chef learns how much time it takes for a chef to really learn their skill and find a job in a premium 7-star hotel and become the head chef. How many years? We don't want to become chef, of course, and that is fine. We are just having a session that he will start, he will progress, he will learn how to cook years and years, then a restaurant, then all of that experience, then hotel, then 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star. It's a long process. It's not that you will just become the head chef. It's a long process. By the time they reach there, they are like 45, 50 easily, maybe more. They are experienced, and at that stage they have to cut and those things. They have other people, they are observing now, they are giving instruction, they have other people doing doing basically everything. They are just the head chef. So but how many years it took for them to do that? But for AI, how much time it will take for AI? Once you give it data, once you put all the recipes in the world and which works and which does not work in the data, it is a 1-second job. Make it 5 seconds, make it a minute. All right, let's not stress AI too much, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. It's not like it's not whole life they are going to going to take. Even like Zora plays games, she knows that these AI is beating human beings in various games, and Zora can tell us how much time it takes to really be good in game. You have to spend hours and hours and hours, and because she has that gaming seat which she told of, that is why I'm used to her. But I'm sure all of us play games, some type of games, and it takes time. Any sport, it takes time. It's not like you just learn like that. And still after learning, you sometimes your friend is going to beat you on and you are like upset about it. This is quite challenging. But for AI, once you give it like the moves, this is this just like learn. And once it starts learning on its own, finding correct data, it's quite challenging. And this last example I want to talk about from the clip, where they are talking about doctors, medical doctors, and prescriptions, simple regular prescription. And I'm sure you guys are aware there are AI apps which you can download on your phone, put in your symptoms, this is happening, and it is going to recommend you a medicine that you, based on your symptoms, this is, you should have this. You can just run a Google search. If you are not aware, you are going to find many apps on that. So think about this. This is quite remarkable. And how much time it takes to become a doctor? Same conversation like chef. Yeah. But anyways, let me take your points. What we have spoken so far from the previous from the linking of previous discussion, where where we were talking about AI needs sleep, other things from the last session, and then coming into this session, these two clips we saw. What are your thoughts? What are you taking away from this? Anything, and make some comments, even if they are short.
I think that the artificial intelligence needs some rest because of the chips. Because if they work too much, they can get a very hard temperature, and this is bad. I think that this is minus. I don't know.
Okay. Why you did not tell us yesterday?
Because I don't think in it. I don't know.
Yes, guys, don't be shy. Let's do it quickly. Yeah, we have done it yesterday. Any comments? Anything? Or you can say no comments, and I will move on if there is nothing. But say something, you know.
Today I read an article about a Russian designer that it really was an artificial intelligence in the end, and people who was hiring it didn't know. They just thought it was a human designer, but it was an artificial intelligence. And it was interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, people would think, people could bluff, like this is real human being, but it is AI. Later on in the course, we are going to showcase a lot of examples on that, where AI is speaking, but people think that it is real human being, and fraud and all of those type of things. Yeah. Yes. Next one.
Well, I was going to give a point about what you said late before about music composition, for example, or AI making doing the job of chef. But I do believe that it's not about replacing. It's about to give to these people, to chefs, to artists, a better tool to make unique things, and to it's about that. It's about thinking on AI as a tool, as making your job better. That's
Excellent
all.
point. Excellent point. Very good. So the chef is going to use AI and find what works and what not, and then use his own experience and look at the consumer, customer, talk with them that should I make this for you? What do you think? And based on all of that,
Exactly.
now he's become a better chef, as Alejandro is saying. Very good.
Exactly.
Very good. Very good. 100%.
I
That is how it should be.
I have a point about two things. First is about automation and the new creation of jobs. And I think it's a very interesting topic because some people, they are scared they will lose their jobs. But AI is kind of not only taking their job, but it's like kind of transforming the society and pushing people towards learning new things and maybe operating within the data related jobs. But not a lot of people are willing to kind of transform themselves and kind of learn the new things, so it's easier for them to just say, oh, AI is bad and it will take my job, so I don't want it. They're like, I don't want to learn new things, I just want to stay the same way. That is first point. And second is that a lot of people like are scared that the AI will take like their low income jobs, like the cashier will be replaced by a robot or the driver will be replaced by the robot. But if you think about it, maybe AI is maybe more endangering the jobs that are higher paid, because the people, let's say a banker who's paid very in a big sum, he can be replaced by AI which can analyze the data. He can in a more efficient way for a less cost, because that is more cost effective than, I don't know, buying a big machine for a simple task, because if you pay the cashier, I don't know, €4 per hour, €5, okay, whatever, but the machine, I don't know, let's say costs I'm just saying 1,000, okay? It's not very cost effective to replace all the cashiers with these expensive machines, but it's more effective to replace, let's say, the doctor or the banker or someone like that, because they get paid more, you know? So that is my point, that maybe AI is really not coming for the lower income jobs, but maybe for the jobs that, you know, are more highly paid, like, I don't know, the doctor or translator or so on and so on.
And thank you for sharing, you know, your feeling on this. And we really don't know what will happen. To be honest, we don't know that. It is just speculation what will happen. We just want to be ready that when we go in the work, we are a little bit more ready, and you know, a little bit. And these points, which again, you know, Zora is linking with what Diago said about, you know, fear. That is a big thing. And then she's saying people are, you know, thinking it will not happen to them or something like that. They don't need it. Think about it, you know, in Zora's university, I'm sure the Spanish university did not send the email only to Zora. They send it on a wider campus. Yeah. So from that, how many people thought that let's do that? Yeah, that's quite interesting, because I was kind of, you know, yesterday when Dora said that she's from other university, and I asked her, how did you know? And she said an email came and they publicized that this is happening online. And before that, I thought that this Spanish university, your university, of the guys, they did not broadcast at all. They were just, you know, they were busy in other things, and that is my perception. That is why we only have, you know, 4 or 5 people in the session. But think about these pointers which you guys have made, and thanks for sharing them. So some basic concepts are explained in the videos. We saw 2 of them and try to have a little conversation with them, first on this cognitive one, and then on these terminologies. You know, these terminologies are going to come again and again. You know, what is deep learning and what is what. So try to expose them slowly but surely. This one is talking about machine learning. It is giving you an example what is what. It's again 4-minute clip, short clip. So watch it in your own time. Try to, you know, see some techniques, some tricks. Again, very interesting clips, but just in the interest of time, and we have said what I wanted to say about this area. But you should watch them in your own time and see. For example, this deep learning. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. Let's watch. It's just 2 minutes.
While machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, deep learning is a specialized subset of machine learning. Deep learning layers algorithms to create a neural network, an artificial replication of the structure and functionality of the brain, enabling AI systems to continuously learn on the job and improve the quality and accuracy of results. This is what enables these systems to learn from unstructured data, such as photos, videos, and audio files. Deep learning, for example, enables natural language understanding capabilities of AI systems and allows them to work out the context and intent of what is being conveyed. Deep learning algorithms do not directly map input to output. Instead, they rely on several layers of processing units. Each layer passes its output to the next layer, which processes it and passes it to the next. The many layers is why it's called deep learning. When creating deep learning algorithms, developers and engineers configure the number of layers and the type of function connect the outputs of each layer to the inputs of the next. Then they train the model by providing it with lots of annotated examples. For instance, you give a deep learning algorithm thousands of images and labels that correspond to the content of each image. The algorithm will run those examples through its layered neural network and adjust the weights of the variables in each layer of the neural network to be able to detect the common patterns that define the images with similar labels. Deep learning fixes one of the major problems present in older generations of learning algorithms. While the efficiency and performance of machine learning algorithms plateau as the datasets grow, Deep learning algorithms continue to improve as they are fed more data. Deep learning to be very efficient at various tasks, including image captioning, voice recognition and transcription, facial recognition, medical imaging, and language translation. Deep learning is also one of the main components of driverless cars. Data. Deep learning has proven to be very effective to improve as they are fed more data.
Yeah, so just in like 2 minutes, you learn some basics of what deep learning is. So pay attention to this one, for example, the efficiency and performance of older machine learning algorithm plateau as the data sets grow. But in deep learning algorithm continues to improve as they are fed more data. So for example, picture of a cat. There are so many different types of pictures of cat. So you just keep on giving the picture of cat sitting in different poses, different colors, all of those things, and the system keeps on looking at those pictures, and over a period of time thousands of pictures, maybe hundreds of thousands are gone, and then it can recognize that any type of cat sitting in any position, it will be able to recognize it. So that is what it is. And context and intent of the usage of words, those type of things makes deep learning very interesting. And other things which they were mentioning are learning on the job. That is again very interesting, that as you are doing it using deep learning is learning on the job based on the experiences, based on previous conversations, and so on. And definitely going forward we will have examples, so things will clarify. For now, in the first three four days, I just want to cover the basics and then build on that. And they were speaking about unstructured data. So first it is structured data, the earlier days of machine learning and stuff. But now, because data is coming from different types, different forms, different shapes, so the ability of the AI to read, interpret uh, the the data coming from different structures, that is quite fascinating. And these are a couple of things. There are more things also, but these are few things which makes AI quite deep learning quite interesting. And then neural network, this is again a terminology. Please watch it in your own time, and then see what is what. Key fields of application, some examples are given, 4 minute clip. Watch it in your own time, try to understand uh, what is happening. Speech we spoke about, for example, uh, self-driving cars, so computer vision and those type of things are important for this one. So very interesting. uh, Self-driving cars, let's watch this one and maybe have a little discussion.
Can you tell us a little bit about the work you're doing with self-driving cars?
I've been working on self-driving cars for the last few years. It's a domain that's exploded, obviously, in interest since early competitions back in the 2005 domain. And what we've been working on really is putting together our own self-driving vehicle that was able to drive on public roads in the region of Waterloo last August. With the self-driving cars area, one of our key research domains is in 3D object detection. So this remains a challenging task for algorithms to perform automatically, trying to identify every vehicle, every pedestrian, every sign that's in a driving environment so that the vehicle can make the correct decisions about how it should move and interact with those vehicles. And so we work extensively on how we take in laser data and vision data and radar data, and then fuse that into a complete view of the world around the vehicle.
When we think of computer vision, we usually think immediately of self-driving cars. And why is that? Well, it's because it's hard to pay attention when driving the road, right? You can't both be looking at your smartphone and also be looking at the road at the same time. Of course, it's sometimes hard to predict what people are going to be doing on the street as well when they're crossing the street with their bike or skateboard or whatnot. So it's great when we have some sort of camera or sensor that can help us detect these things and prevent accidents before they could potentially occur. And that's one of the limitations of human vision is attention, is visual attention. So I could be looking at you, Rav, but behind you could be this delicious slice of pizza. But I can only pay attention to one or just some limited number of things at a time. But I can't attend to everything in my visual field all at once at the same time, like a camera could, or like how computer vision could potentially do so. And so that's one of the great things that cameras and computer vision is good for, helping us to the whole world around us without having us to look around and make sure that we're paying attention to everything. And that's just in self-driving cars. So I think we all kind of have a good sense of how that shapes, how AI and computer vision shapes the driving and transportation industry.
Yeah, so we are not going to watch all of that. We heard two experts, and the remaining of the 2 minutes you can listen to it in your own time. Couple of things I want to mention. For example, the first guy, when we were watching this clip, he's talking about 3D 3D reading, and he's saying that the car should be able to read every sign, analyze every pedestrian, analyze everything, whatever is happening on the road. So human beings can do that more or less if they are focused on driving and they are not multitasking or doing other things as they are driving. They can quickly scan around and make sense that this is this and this is that. But for AI, that is still a challenge, and that these type of challenges are mitigated by deep learning, as we understood how, by putting in a lot of different pictures, different visuals. So I gave you example of cat. So cat giving different types of cat, sitting in different postures, walking in different postures, all of that. So over a period of time, deep learning then can recognize that this is a cat, no matter in what situation that cat is, or how she's making faces or whatever. Yeah. So this is the type of work they are maybe doing. When you are going to look at the summary, it kinds of gives you a brief of so for example, deep learning, this is a specialized subset of machine learning, layers algorithm to create neural network, enable AI system to learn from unstructured. Yeah, so not from structured, because the machine learning was already doing it before deep learning. They can look at structured data, but with deep learning, unstructured data, and what is the other thing? Continuously learning on the job. Continuously learning. Yeah. So new experience comes, it builds on that, and it stores it, and builds on that, and stores it, and builds. Yeah. So these type of things you can read here also, like what is supervised learning. What are the how it is linked with overall thing. So you can maybe look into these here in the summary section. And I just, like the first module, I have included these readings for you guys. So for example, we were talking about deep learning, applications of deep learning. So if you click this is what you are going to see. IBM, you guys are familiar with the company. And you must have realized that the clips are also the ones they say IBM. The clips we have been watching for the introductory sessions, these introductory sessions. So this work is supported by IBM, which I am sharing with you. Health in health code, how it is working, and they have given other examples where they are using it. So if you are interested, you can look into this. This is also these categories are here: 5G, AI, augmented reality, automation, banking, big data. Yeah, blockchain, that is very interesting. Blockchain. So you can click on these also and see what IBM or company, or not just IBM, companies like these, what they are doing on this. And I think that will increase your knowledge. But anyways, I don't plan to spend time on this. I have just shared the readings for you. They are simple English, no, nothing hard at all, very easy, friendly. They are written in a way that a person without the computing background can also understand them. But three of you do have computing background, so it should not be any problem. And even for Zora, she's smart, so no problem for her also. Yeah. So please look into these things. Uh, I want to continue with module 3 because we want to complete these 4 modules um, as quickly as we can uh, without skipping any important thing. And then we want to go into more interesting things. I know that these type of things can be sometimes can sometimes be boring a little bit, like what is these definitions and basic concepts. uh, but don't worry about that. Once we have already looked at these 2 modules, once we look at these next 2 modules, the basic things, then I think you will enjoy the sessions more, way more, because of the examples and stories and the things which I plan to share with you. Uh, but nevertheless, let's look at this AI issues. What are the issues? What are some of the concerns, ethical consideration, and once we have gone through this, be ready to participate in some type of discussion, share your ideas and stuff like that. Yeah, so this bias is a big thing. AI will have some type of bias, and I would like to discuss it briefly. So AI, who is going to feed data in AI? Who is going to build? Who is going to write the codes? All of these things are done by human beings. So if a human being is going to program the basic essential things, uh, generally speaking, we human beings do have bias. We agree or we do not agree. We have likabilities and we have dislikabilities. Stereotyping, it is not, we should not do it, but all of us do that. We stereotype. We look at someone, and just by looking before they have said anything to us, we have an image of them. We start thinking if this person is smart, how smart they are, or if they are foolish, how foolish they are. They have not said anything. We just look at them. Friendships. How do we make friendship? You are on campus. You look at some girl there, and you say, let me talk with her. She looks someone very very nice. You have not spoken with her. Just by looking at her physical appearance, her hair color, her walking style, whatever it is, her dressing, you just have an image that, okay, I need to talk with her. When you will talk with her, then maybe after talking you will say, well, she is not no good. This happens. On the other hand, there is someone, you look at that girl and you say, I don't want to talk with her. But if you would have spoken with her, maybe she would have your best friend or something, like maybe she's very nice. Yeah. So we voice tone, like, so how do I look like? I look like an Indian. Why I look like an Indian? Because I'm Indian. Yeah. So I'm born in Pakistan. My parents are from there. So this is how I look. I have a certain accent. I have a certain way of talking. So from this, you guys have a mental image of me even before I started speaking. When you saw me the first time, you just had, I think, okay, this whatever your past interaction with people who look like me has been, it has impacted that. If you, let's say, if you have best friend who has my accent, he's your best friend, and you really love him, you will have a favorable opinion about me. But if, let's say, this morning you had a little fight with some Indian in your campus, and you now seeing me, you're not happy about that. You are saying these people are Indians, are whatever. Yeah, because of your background, where you are coming from. So when you, what I'm trying to say, that whatever your past experience has been or whatever, when you will be creating AI, you are putting in data. Somewhere you are, if you like blondes, if you have a liking for blondes, you are going to tell AI that when you are speaking with a blonde, be nice. This is how it is. Yeah, it is. This is how it is. Yeah, because it's human interaction. Say these words when you are. Yeah, because it is your work. It is although it is computers, and but it is your artwork. It is your creation. You are creating something. It is like your child or something like that. It is your thing. You want to create something nice from that. On the other hand, if you don't like some, some people from some background, you will have that. And it is not by design. You will not do it on purpose, because you are good people. You are not going to. It is automatically, it will just happen without even knowing for yourself. You won't even know, and that bias is going to just come. These things come naturally. Whatever we feel in our heart, we don't have to plan for those things. They naturally, the tone of voice changes, the everything changes automatically. These on a subconscious level, these things happen. Same thing once you are programming the AI. People are programming, these biases come, these dislikings come. This black movement is going on in US, and all of those things. These things come in AI also. And once we start giving examples after maybe 2 days or something, by Friday or maybe before that, depending on our speed, I will show you various examples where you will see that how those biases like really disrupted the advancement which the benefits which we could have from AI. They are limited because of these biases, because equality is important. It should not be on race, and it should not be on, these Spanish people are better than, Americans, and Canadians are better than, Jamaicans. Although that is the truth, people do that all the time. Every race thinks that, they are better. If you are speaking with Russians, they are going to say we are better. If Chinese are going to say we are better. So whoever creates the AI, these type of technologies, they would have a upper hand overall in the long run, because they would have built some biases just like that in the robotics, in all of those things. So this is a big topic, and it is linked with ethics, and we already spoke a little bit about ethics, I think, yesterday also. But with context, let's see if we can maybe, uh, watch something together, and then maybe talk about that issues and concerns around AI. Watch it in your own time. Let's watch this one, AI and ethical issues.
What are some of the ethical issues and concerns around AI?
Ethics issues is another big question. There's certainly many capabilities in automation and in AI that are emerging that are going to lead to all kinds of abilities to track humans endlessly, to identify actions and behaviors way beyond what's been possible before. And so we need to have a keen eye on what's allowed and what isn't allowed, and how these technologies can be used and impact society.
There are always ways to work around this, because technology fundamentally, since the very beginning of human history, there have been technologies used for good purposes, bad purposes, no matter how much of a good intent you put for humans.
The key point from my viewpoint is to think of ethics in artificial intelligence not as something that somebody else is going to do in the future. It's something we need to apply today. So, for example, today, police forces in countries like China and soon in Russia are starting to use glasses that do image recognition and do face recognition, identify a wanted person with warrants for example, in a crowd, and be able to better enforce law and maybe arrest a person or investigate this further. That's a technology that's in use today. It can be used for great good of reducing the crime, simplifying the job of the law enforcement, or it can be used for nefarious reasons for a dictatorial government to enforce their will on the people, on arresting and suppressing dissent, on suppressing democracy and other. It really is. Ethics is not a technological problem. Ethics is a human problem. It's something that all of us need to care about. Recognizing this, leading companies in AI in the space of artificial intelligence have banded together to create consortia. So companies like Apple, IBM, Amazon, Microsoft, DeepMind, Google, all got together and they're all advocating the best ways of applying ethics to this technology.
It's interesting.
Yes, so think about these things which the guy mentioned, and 1 minute is still left in the clip. You can watch it in your own time later on. But think about the things which this guy mentioned in the earlier part. So he's talking about policing. So police using AI to, let's say, minimize crime, and let's there is a guy who looks like Spanish people. Yeah, how Spanish people look like. Yeah, they have certain features. Yeah, a typical Spanish guy. So that guy is visiting United States of America, and he's involved in some type of crime or something for one reason or another, and then maybe they find 2-3 more guys coming from Spain, and they are also involved in some activities or something like that, and then they in the system, AI system, they say that, all right, with these characteristics, anyone with these facial resemblance to Spanish people, please stop them, check them, what they are doing, do thorough checking and everything, because this has happened. Yeah, so AI, they will have to, if they are using AI, this is how it will happen. So when you will go there, you have nothing to do with any bad activity, just like majority of Spanish people, they have nothing to do with anything bad. But then, of course, in every country, there are some people who go to other countries, drug trafficking and stuff like that. So now how would you feel? You will be stood out, you will take forever for the checkup, they will be asking you where you are going and stuff like that. So this is not just, let's say, a typical Jamaican looking man, a black man going to US or any other country where they are using AI to detect and stuff, those type of things. And then from the things which they have put in the system, the biases which I was talking about for certain features, certain whatever, how they will impact. Yeah, these are quite difficult questions as we use artificial intelligence in more and more activities. So on those same lines, we'll have a couple of more clips on the site. You can maybe look into them. Let's see what is this one.
AI is extremely powerful and can be used in ways that negatively affect society. To develop and use AI systems responsibly, AI developers must consider the ethical issues inherent in AI. They must have a realistic view of their systems and their capabilities, and be aware of the different forms of bias potentially present in their systems. With this awareness, developers avoid unintentionally creating AI systems that have a negative rather than positive impact. Even outside the realm of science fiction, some conversations about the ethics of AI suppose that AI will become sentient, that is, become self-aware, develop its own moral code, and turn against its inventors. Nick Bostrom of Oxford University says in the very long term, machine superintelligence might eventually match human intelligence, and that when that happens, there may be risks to human society. Professor Stephen Hawking expressed reservations about the future of AI by saying, "The rise of powerful AI will either be the best or the worst thing to happen to humanity. We do not yet know which." Elon Musk went even further by saying AI is more dangerous than nuclear weapons. But there are also ethical issues concerning AI that must be addressed in the medium term, short term, and now. In developing AI systems, experts must guard against introducing bias, whether gender, racial, social, or any other form of bias. Early AI systems were prone to bias, an example being image recognition software reflecting the unconscious bias of its developers. Due to poorly selected training data, it identified scenes showing kitchens, laundry, and shops with women, and scenes showing sports coaching and shooting with men. AI-powered facial recognition systems provide another example of an unintentionally biased system. In one case, a system proved to be far more effective at recognizing individuals with lighter toned skin than individuals with darker toned skin. Again, this was discovered to be because the training data provided to the AI system was not sufficiently varied, featuring more individuals with lighter toned skin than those with darker toned skin. These types of bias can be extremely dangerous when used in real-life setting. For example, there are AI-powered risk assessment systems used in courts that help predict the probability of a person reoffending and hence provide guidelines for sentencing or granting parole based on the calculated risk of racism. There is concern that these systems may be biased against people of color. Developers of AI systems can guard against introducing bias by providing effective training data and performing regular tests and audits to ensure the system is performing as expected. Another ethical issue that has arisen is a person entitled to know when they are speaking to a human being and when they are speaking to a bot. As many bots are now indistinguishable from human beings, especially during short conversations, a lack of trust in AI systems can be exacerbated by lack of transparency. The sudden discovery that one is not speaking to a human being but rather a bot can be unsettling and can make the transaction feel unequal. Trust is key in developing useful, successful AI systems. For developers, there are 4 aspects of AI that help people perceive it as trustworthy. Transparency. People should be aware of interacting with an AI system and understand what their expectations for the interaction should be. Accountability. Developers should create AI systems with algorithmic accountability so that any unexpected results can be traced and undone if required. Privacy. Personal information should always be protected. Lack of bias. Developers should use representative training data to avoid bias and regular audits to detect any bias creeping in. You, as a consumer of services provided by AI, should take an informed and balanced view. Remember that every news article, every photo or video shared on social media, and every advert has been created by someone, and their motivations may be different from yours.
Yes, I found this one very interesting. So we spoke about, people coming from some ethnic background, but they are talking about other things like gender, male, female, how to treat them when they are going through any type of facial recognition. And they are going even down, like for example, Spanish people, uh, lighter with the lighter tone of skin and with a darker tone of skin. Yeah, so people would have different way of looking at them. People, generally speaking, if you are looking at the global trend, generally speaking, the lighter shade people generally look up to more than the darker shade. Generally speaking, it should not be the case, but this is how it is. So think about these things. If these type of biases are in the system where it is uh, making type of decisions in policing or any other aspect, rejecting or accepting any type of request, what can be some of the implications in terms of bias, in terms of ethics, and so on. One thing which they spoke about, which I want to highlight for all of us, is training data. So we have been talking about big data and everything is data and information coming from so many sources. But AI needs some data on which it will train itself, on which it will get familiar with different facial features, color tones, all of those things. So that is called training data. So how to select training data? That is quite an interesting job. So when an AI is being trained for, let's say that which tree is, which structure is a tree and which structure is not a tree, you need to select the pictures of trees, and they should collectively they should give the right context to the AI. That is what training data is. So you will be selecting the pictures which you should use as training data if AI needs to be able to recognize the structure of trees in the right way, or structure of cars or bicycles or cats or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know why I am talking about cats again and again. I really don't like them. Don't think that I have a lot of cats. I don't know why. Maybe I was looking at some clips or something like that, and they were talking about cats. So that's why maybe I'm giving this example. So think about these things. Yes, definitely. These last two clips we are very interested in. So we're going to watch them.
Can you talk to us about some of the concerns and issues surrounding AI?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of growing concern around AI replacing jobs and taking over some of the more automatable tasks or manual tasks. Now, if you think about the economics of things, it's very clear. We wouldn't think twice about regretting that the refrigerator was invented, or that the bicycle was invented, or that the car was invented. You nor I would probably think of creating a time machine to go back to prevent the invention of the car from being ever invented in the first place, just because it has transformed our lives in ways that we could never have imagined. In the same sense that potentially AI could potentially, transform, and it has already begun to transform our lives in very meaningful ways. And through that process, there are going to be inevitably some jobs that are going to be automated or replaced, kind of like ice pickers who were trying to, acquire large blocks of ice cubes to bring it to, towns and homes so they could refrigerate their food. Those jobs were replaced by the refrigerator. And also horse-drawn carriages, they were replaced by bicycles and cars as well. So technology is always going to transform society.
My views is that we've been through many revolutions where technology has had a profound impact on the type of jobs that humans need to perform. Right? We no longer have horse and buggy drivers. There's a lot of changes that have had big impacts on the way people make their livings, and so AI is going to be no different and have a very large impact on automation and automatable tasks. So anything that's repeatable, even in the office setting, repeatable tasks, the document generation in the industrial setting, repeatable manufacturing, repeatable assembly. These are the kind of jobs that are going to evaporate, but they'll be replaced with a huge set of new opportunities where we need people that understand how these technologies work and they can maximize their efficiency in their applications.
So that's a very interesting question, and it's one that we're asked very frequently in my area. We're often asked, will robots take over? Are they going to take away jobs from a large number of people? And I think our answer is, or at least my answer at the moment is, no. Robots are very likely, in fact, to generate new jobs. And so in the areas of robot maintenance, manufacturing, design, all kinds of new positions, I think, will become available. So I think the fear of robots taking away a huge number of jobs is perhaps somewhat unfounded at this stage.
What do we do with those kinds of people today, in which their jobs are vulnerable to AI? Well, I think there's also some responsibility for lots of, especially large corporations that are heavily investing in AI, to help come up with some sort of solution that can help retrain these people who are perfectly capable of learning, new skills as well. I'm confident, and help them, develop new skills to work in other jobs. And I think that's something that is required for large corporations. Part of the responsibility to be able to help reduce the negative impact of AI. So yeah, there's a lot of growing concern, and I think it's both a responsibility, corporations to be able to accommodate the changes in the industry, and it's also the workers who have to be cognizant that some jobs may be prone to be automated, and to never stop learning, to always try to look towards new skills.
A major ethical consideration for developers of AI systems is their effect on jobs. Some AI experts, including Nick Bostrom, believe that there will be a significant economic impact of AI. Many people are already concerned about the impact of AI on existing jobs and worry that it will change the entire employment landscape. Let's look at how AI can affect jobs, where jobs may be at risk, and where jobs are being created. AI can be used most effectively for jobs that are primarily repetitive or rules-based. This category of job could include bank tellers, salespeople, call center operatives, and drivers. People in these jobs may see demand for their skills fall and may need to retrain in other areas. For example, there have been tremendous advances in autonomous vehicle technology in the last few years. And as self-driving cars become more and more of a reality, the jobs of many millions of drivers around the world are at risk, some of whom have found new sources of income in the recent years by driving through the likes of Uber, Lyft, Ola, and Didi. People converse daily with AI assistant bots. Bots answer calls at call centers, answer questions on websites, perform tasks on mobile phones, and many other things besides. Bots can be used to perform simple tasks for many workers, freeing those people up to attend to more complex tasks or replacing them entirely, depending on the implementation. Alternatively, bots can be integrated into an organization's existing systems, providing help and support people and making their jobs easier. But along with improving communications and reducing support costs for organizations, they can also eliminate many call center and help desk jobs. There is great concern among economists that developing countries are at even greater risk from AI encroaching into the job market, with low-wage jobs quickly being lost. Although this may be broadly true, there are some ways that a developing country with many people looking for work can participate in the development of AI and gain benefits from the technology. For example, workers can prepare images that will become training data for self-driving cars by identifying parts of the images. This work does not require high-tech infrastructure or highly trained workers, but it can be used by some of the most sophisticated AI systems available today. According to a report by the World Economic Forum, it is expected that 75 million jobs will be displaced by AI, robotics, and automation in the next few years. However, AI also brings with it new opportunities and job roles that have not existed in the past. In fact, the very same report also indicates AI will foster net new job growth, resulting in 133 million new jobs in the next few years. That's almost 60 million more jobs than will be lost. So with this changing job landscape, there will undoubtedly be a shift in society as people cease to work in certain professions, but need to find other fulfilling sources of income. A key part of this is upskilling and reskilling initiatives. Companies like IBM are working with policymakers, academic institutions, and training providers to help students and workers acquire new skills that will emerge in the AI-enabled economy. As AI permeates our daily lives, new ways of working will be discovered. Already, AI is augmenting jobs rather than eliminating them, bringing new jobs to less developed countries and bringing investors and small business together, regardless of location. Although the employment landscape will certainly change, it may well be for the better. New job growth.
Yes, very interesting points. If you are watching these last two clips, which we saw together, very interesting points they were making ethical issues, bias, developing countries, developed countries, job creation, and this is the statistics which I was talking about a while ago, that AI and these type of technologies are creating more jobs than ending jobs. So this is a statistic: 75 million jobs may be lost, but how many are created? 133 million new jobs. And for those new type of jobs, this is quite a big number. See, look at this, it's kind of twice. For every job which is not there, two jobs are, roughly speaking, are being created. So this is quite an interesting number for us to really reflect on, because think about it, the way we are preparing for uh, our careers, the way we have been preparing, if we continue preparing in the same way, then we won't be maybe finding the jobs, because maybe those jobs might not be there present in the future. Even if they are there, the skills required to do those jobs might change. So that is why we really need to, individually speaking, we need to take hold of this. And I shared the same sentiment with you yesterday also. Please do not wait on the university or the institution that they will change the curriculum and they will teach you what is the requirement is there. It is not happening, and it will not happen in near future, because universities have too many things going on. They don't have time to look into these things in the detail which you can look. If you personally are interested in your career, you need to look and prepare what is the job I will have in next 5 years, and what are things I need for that job to be employable. Don't wait for university. By the time you graduate, before you know, time is over. So that is one part which I take from personally, on personal level, I take that. Another thing which I want to talk about very quickly is the shift between, is the imbalance between developing countries and developed countries. So for example, you don't have to find a job in computer science. That is what I'm trying to say. You don't have to, there is so many things you can do. So for example, what about policy development for governments? You can work for United Nations, World Bank, you can work for these institutions which make policies. So because you have a background from computer science, and Zora has background in business studies, different backgrounds are there, and now you can say, all right, these developing countries, they are going to face a big hit because of automation and involvement of AI. So let me give you an example of Jamaica. So in Jamaica, we have a very nice, beautiful road going from one city to the next one. They have recently made the highway last 4 or 5 years. Very beautiful highway. And when that thing was opened, that highway was opened, I went there to, drive and see how it looks and whatever. I went there, and when I entered, there was a human being, a girl there. We spoke. She said, "How are you? Drive safe." She gave me a ticket and opened the bar, and I went into the highway. After 6 7 months, I had to go out of town again, and I went there. This time when I went, that girl was not there. There was a button, green button. I pressed the green button. The system said, "Welcome to the highway, drive safe." And a card came out. I took the card, and as I took it, the bar was raised and I went in. Last time when I was exiting, there was a human being which took the card and the payment. This time also there was a human being, because payment is involved and they don't want to leave that thing automated, because some people can come and take the money from there. Yeah, typical problems of developing countries. Typical problem. Why people take money? Not because they are bad or something, because they don't have job, and it's easy way for them. I'm not trying to support them, but these are the realities of life, which make people do bad things, crime and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say, that a developing country like Jamaica, which is not automated or nothing like that, the things which are in Europe, they are quite fascinating. Some, not all the European countries, some are more advanced, others are a little back, and so on. You guys know better about those things. So what I'm saying that in our country where already there are less jobs and those type of things, the education is the problem, finding job is the problem, all of those issues, typical developing countries issues. In that country, this automation came, and that one person who had the job, they lost the job. So what should be the policy now? What should be the policy of developing countries, that how they should skill these people before that type of automation comes, which is going to come as a result of AI, as a result of deep learning and other things which we have been talking about. So you can find a job in that. So it is like it's quite varied. It is not just about programming. That is what I am trying to emphasize. So please reflect on these things. And at the end of the module, there is again the summary. You will see it for every module. So this is how it will look. Again, you can quickly go through that, and there are, again, just like the last module, there are couple of readings. For example, trust and ethics in technology. You can just click that. uh, Let me share the screen, because I thought I have shared the screen. Yeah, so this is where we are. You will see the screen now. These are the clips we watch: jobs in AI, employment and AI, and then this is the module summary. Once you click this will open up. So this is kind of a little briefing of what are some of the things we should have focused, or the things we spoke about in today's session. Some of them are there, and then these are a couple of readings. This is what I was talking about: trust and ethics in technology. Yeah, so you can click on this and see what is what and explore it. There are some clips also. You can watch them if you are interested. If you are not interested in that, that is fine also. So based on these clips which we saw, all the things which we have been doing, give me some thoughts. What are you guys thinking? We still have like 5 minutes, so we can talk a little bit. Yeah, so please go ahead. Any examples coming in your mind? Anything, you can. Yes, Diago.
I thought when I saw I think the for reading, I don't know, but I don't think that the EA is dangerous. I think that people using EA is the people who are dangerous. I don't know. I think that there has to be a law to prevent bad things using the EA. And that's it.
Excellent point. Very good point. Laws and regulations. That is very very important, and companies are thinking about this. Excellent point. Yes, please.
Yeah, I do agree with Diego, and I think that AI and business they are going to confront this kind of issues, and because maybe 100 years ago it was easier to make a revolution because there was not like these complex societies that we live now. But nowadays is going to be a problem that we should start facing from now.
Excellent point. This word was missing from today's discussion. Complex societies. Complex societies. Uh, Very good. Very good. So our friend is absolutely correct that in the 100 years ago things were. It's not. We are not saying that there were not challenging time and not complex, but now it's more complex, and the complexity is going to increase more going forward. It is not going down. It is just going to increase with time. So for those type of things, really need some type of proper laws which looks at ethics, trust, regulation, as Diago has mentioned. Those are extremely important things. And as you guys, both of you, have spoken about regulation and stuff like that, let me just share quickly with you. This is an amazing report by Brookings. You can maybe watch it in your own time, or read it in your time. So look at this, 9th March 2020, Brookings report: AI needs more regulation, not less. Yeah. So these type of articles, you need to look into this. And this is the author, Mark. And look at this. He is in communication, culture, and technology. So look at the person coming from different background. It is not about computer science just alone, because computer scientist is only going to look at the language and those type of things and become efficient in that, in programming side maybe. Yeah. But then there are so many other things, as Alejandro is saying, complex society. So this communication, culture, and technology, this is what he works on in Georgetown University. And he's just one of many who talks about AI regulations and stuff like that. So you should run some searches on this, and try to identify what are some of the loopholes in regulation, and do something about that. Yes, Miguel.
I agree with that, and I want to say too that the ethical issues are having like public impact too, in the way that so many companies are stopping to invest on projects that involve, for example, facial recognition or whatever, because it's like people doesn't want it to have bias and that kind of things, and they are stopping to invest.
And we can also link it with other things like privacy, data privacy. What happens to those pictures? What happens to, so ethics and privacy, all of that is linked as we talk about trust, building trust, all of those things. Yes, very good. Zora is there, or she left us?
No, I'm here.
All right. Yes, Zora, please.
What I wanted to say is that maybe what comes to my mind is responsibility from like the sides, as it was mentioned, the corporations and stuff like that we should use the AI responsibly, and that we should try to, I don't know how to say it, maybe push for the companies to try to kind of reskill those workers, not just dump them and say whatever, it's not our problem. And also responsibility on our part, if we see that these technologies are being developed, we as people, as part of the society, we should push for the laws to be integrated, not just say, okay, someone will take care of making the laws. We have to kind of advocate for, okay, maybe the laws should be kind of brought to attention, or okay, are we thinking about this and stuff like that. So we should be more responsible, and not just like someone will think about the law. We should also advocate for it ourselves. And second thing I wanted to mention, that AI kind of, what was with the privacy and all that stuff, or people using AI for the wrong reasons or not in the best way, like with the facial recognition stuff. China is, in my opinion, the prime example of AI not being used in a very fair way. So we have in real time, we already have a kind of a sense what can happen if AI is maybe not regulated, or maybe how it can be used to do more harm than good, in my personal opinion. As I'm not a big fan of China's policy with the recognition. They also have movement recognition and stuff like that. So they are very advanced with the recognitions and laws and stuff, whatever they have. So that's just my 2 cents I wanted to mention.
Yes, thank you very much for all the comments. I think the comments you made kind of sums up what are the things we should be looking at: responsibility, trust, complex societies, more regulations, other things you said about bias, and yeah. So very good, very good for that. So with that, thank you very much for a wonderful